We hitting 7 yet? There we go. Let's go. Oh, we're up. Okay. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the January 25th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. At the beginning of our meeting, I announced that the meeting's being recorded and broadcast via cable television. We also, at the beginning of every meeting, do the Pledge of Allegiance, so please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, those of you that were either at or watched the budget summit, one of the topics we talked about was bringing in a possibility of bringing in some software on our website that would be more transparent with graphs and charts and historical data for the town's finances. And one of the companies that I mentioned that night was a company called ClearGov, and the owner of ClearGov is here tonight, Chris Pollock. Chris, welcome.
Thank you.
And Chris is going to do about a 15-minute demonstration of what his program offers us, and then at the end of the 15 minutes we can ask questions. So, Chris, we'll let you have the floor and welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. As Phil mentioned, my name is Chris Bullock. I'm CEO and founder of a company called ClearGov. I've spent the last 15 years or so in the data analytics field, having spent about 8 years managing product development at the NASDAQ stock market, combing SEC filings for publicly available information on mutual fund managers, then moving into the legal industry, combing legal invoices for large companies to help them better understand and actually reduce their outside legal spend by comparing attorney fees and matter costs. And so I've got a long history of providing analytics, and it really has taken me to this point where earlier in this year I had actually I should say last year, had a very simple question: where are my tax dollars going? And I live in the city or town of Hopkinton, and I decided to go onto our town's website and found their annual report. It was about 230 pages long, and about 150 pages into it, I found our financial statements. And two things stuck out to me very, very quickly. One, the financial statements were very difficult to read. I thought to be very financially astute, but there was a lot of terminology, a lot of different funds, and transfer between those funds that I just was not familiar with. And the second thing that I found was that there was a lot of big numbers in there that really didn't hit home for me. In other words, seeing that my town spent $55 million on education was just a big number. I wanted to know, how did that compare to other similar towns? And so I set out in gathering the same information on Holliston and Ashland, and it created this big spreadsheet, and my wife thought I was crazy, but it got me some interesting data. I eventually found that the Massachusetts Department of Revenue collects all this information on every town and city in the state, and eventually took that data and decided to have it power this site called ClearGov that takes the open data from the Department of Revenue and automatically creates very easy to understand infographics on the finances of every city and town in Massachusetts. What it does very uniquely is dynamically identifies similar towns that have similar populations and similar home values to benchmark not only total revenues, expenses, and debt, but also subcategories of spending and revenue. So what we're looking at here is the live website of cleargov.com. You can see that we've got California, Massachusetts, and New York. These are just the 3 states that we've started with, but we're going to be rolling out a lot of new states very soon. Now, if you click on Massachusetts, you'll see that we literally have every single town and city in Massachusetts. And I'm just going to scroll down here to Linfield because we have already created a page for your town. Let's see, where are we? There we go. So what we're showing here, first off, I'll point out that this is 2014 data. It takes the DOR a couple of years to gather the data, so it's inherently a couple of years behind. We then show a demographic snapshot so you can better understand how this town's population, home value, and household income compares to the state average to get a better feel for the tax base. Then we show a financial overview, and you can see revenues versus expenses, and then we break that down on a per person basis and then benchmark that against similar towns. So for expenses, you can see that Linfield spends 13% less on a per person basis versus similar towns. If I click on this, this will tell me what towns we're comparing Linfield to. And the way we do this is we automatically identify towns based upon a population range of 30% more or less. Then we look at home values of 20% higher or lower. And we start out with a 10-mile radius, and we expand that 10-mile radius by 10 miles until we get 10 good peers. So we had to go 40 miles to find 10 peers. And you can see on a per capita basis how Linfield compares to these towns. Down here, if you want to get the metrics of each one of these towns to see how close they are to Linfield, you can see that very easily. So I'm going to click out of this. Then I'm going to go in and click to view expenses. Now I can view expenses in a very easy to understand pie chart. I can see, for instance, 52.2% of the expenditures are going towards education, 16.5% going to employee benefits, etc. Now as I scroll down, I can start to see how these numbers break down on a per person basis. So in education, the town spends about $23.8 million. That's about $1,900, almost $2,000 per person, and it's 11% less than similar towns. So you can see how each one of these major categories of spending compares to similar towns. We found this very informative, not only for residents but also for government officials, as it provides a new lens to look at the data. So our business model is that we create these pages as a public service, so residents can very easily understand their town government, but we allow towns to do something that we call claim their page. And when they click this button, it allows them to see what does claiming a page mean, and I'm about to show you this, so I won't go through it. But when I claim the page, it just allows me to fill out a form and submit that request to us. I'm going to show you what a claimed page looks like. So let's go over to one of our first towns that upgraded, called Easton, or Town of Easton, and show you what an upgraded page looks like. So the Town of Easton, you can see that they put their town seal here, the chair of the Board of Selectmen, and most notably you can see that we give them the ability to upgrade to 2015 data. And if they want to send us 2016 data, they can do that as well. As we scroll down, you'll notice many more differences. First off, you'll see that we give them the ability to add commentary to these pages. So this is, he's just calling out, hey, click this button. But I'm going to show you a couple other places where they are better telling their story. Every number has a story behind it, and oftentimes data only gives you part of the picture. It really needs that human element to explain the story behind the numbers, and we're really given a platform for that. We also add trending charts, so you can see revenues versus expenses over time and scroll over to see the numbers. We add an educational snapshot. So here we're showing expenditures per student, and you can click between the two different schools. This is a vocational school. We get this information from the Department of Secondary and Elementary Education. And here we're showing expenditures per student, and then we're benchmarking that against similar schools. So if you click this, you can see how this school benchmarks against similar schools. Now in schools, we're benchmarking by the total number of students. We're looking for schools with 40% more or less students. And then we're looking for schools with a similar percentage of low-income students. So this school looks to have about a 9% ratio of low-income students. So we're looking for 4.5% to 3.4%. And we've identified these schools, and you can see on an expenditures per student basis. Now when you upgrade on to and claim your page, you get this additional page where it says view more metrics. And here we give a whole analysis of the school district. So here I can see how many students are in the school district, what's the enrollment by grade, and this looks like they had a particularly large 8th grade, but if you can see, is the student population increasing, do we need to prepare for that? We also show special needs students and how that compares to similar schools. Many schools, their costs are driven by, say, English language learners or special education students. They have to bear those extra costs, and that should be reflected in this information. Likewise, we show faculty, the number of full-time employees, how that breaks down between teachers and staff. the student to teacher ratio and how that compares to similar schools. We do a salary analysis so you can see the average teacher salary. We also show how many teachers are licensed, as that will affect the average teacher salary and how that compares to similar schools. And then lastly, we give a bit of performance analysis where you can see the average SAT score, the graduation rate, as well as the percentage of students that go to college and how that compares to similar schools. All of this we show, obviously, because education is such a large portion of town budgets. We wanted to tell the numbers behind the numbers, so to speak. The other thing that the upgraded towns are able to do is, as I scroll down here past that, is show other funds. And here, this town chose to show reserve funds, but you can show enterprise funds, whatever funds you'd like to portray here. We're also incorporating an element of education here, as many residents may not know what a reserve fund is. Really, it's a rainy day account, but we want to really educate the public. And here is a great example of how a town is trying to really communicate through our platform that they're making a concerted effort to increase their rainy day accounts. And here we can see that in the numbers, in the stabilization fund and free cash growing over time. If I wanted to drill just and look at the stabilization fund, I can take that off and just see that and isolate that. Likewise, if I wanted to look at the ratio of basically savings to expenditures over time, I can do that very easily. So that's just the home page. I'll show you a couple more things. As I scroll back up, we can drill into revenues or expenses, but I'm going to drill into expenses here because it does something unique. It asks, would you like to personalize your experience? And I could enter a tax bill, say I spend $8,000 per year on property taxes, then I click View Figures. It'll very uniquely show you what your contribution is to each expenditure category, so it customizes it to your tax bill. The other thing that I scroll down on is the premium sites get additional charting options. So some people like to view the data in bar charts. Some prefer interactive mountain charts so that I can single out specific spending categories. We even have something called a box chart. And you can click into each one of these and drill down into the data. As I scroll down, you'll notice that these expense categories now have a view breakdown button, and they also have trending. And another great example here of the public safety, I'd asked the Easton town manager why their public safety costs were increasing. And he said, well, that's easy. In 2009, we let go of about 15% of our police force due to the economic downturn, and now we're just hiring them back. So if you just looked at those numbers, it may look like they were just increasing salaries, yet in fact, they were hiring people back. So they're using this platform to communicate that. Now I can drill into public safety. Again, all the other towns, you can't do that, but with the upgraded towns, it allows you to drill into deeper detail. So now I can see the balance between fire department and police department, and then see each one of these individually, and then I can click view breakdown and drill directly into the police department and see that salaries make up 71.7%, overtime and holiday supplies and equipment. And we can really go as granular as the town would like. I can foresee many towns going even deeper in the data than this. So that is the front, kind of the front public-facing portion of the website. Again, it's designed to help citizens and residents very easily understand and digest very complex and confusing data. And towns are taking this website and they're leveraging it either by promoting it on their website as their financial transparency center, or we can work with the town and embed it into your site. So we're working with the town of Athol, and they're embedding the graphics into their site, and they're calling it their Sunshine Center. The last thing I'll show, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but I think it's important for town officials, is we've created a number of tools. So the town officials can log into our back office, and then they can see any comments that are left on the site, and they can reply to those comments. They can manage any of the financial numbers on the website. But the most important part of this back office is we give the town the ability to use our platform to benchmark, do their own benchmarking, so to speak. So I'll give one example. Here, I can go in and say I wanted to benchmark Public Works. I can click Public Works, then I click Next. And when I'm benchmarking Public Works, it gives me a set of filters that I may want to use. So I'm going to choose population. You'll see on the right-hand side, it identifies 128 matches. In this instance, I'm logged in as Easton. When I'm benchmarking Public Works, I probably don't care about home value here, but I do care about land area and probably care about road miles, especially when I'm talking about snow and ice removal. So when I picked those filters, it got me down to 26 matches. So that may be too many towns to compare to, so I'm going to drag the land area in and find towns that are similarly sized, and that got me down to 8 matches. So now I can click Next, and instantly it pulls up all the financials for Public Works for these 8 towns. I can view it on an actual spend basis, or a per capita basis, or a percentage of the total budget. So I can see that my town spends 5% on Public Works, but my peers spend anywhere from 3 to about 7%. So that gives the town very powerful information to make more data-driven and more informed decisions on budgets. Lastly, I'll just point out we give a kind of a very high-level view in this graph where each dot actually represents a city or a town. So say I wanted to compare our education expenditures, I can click on expenditures and education, and this represents the value per capita that we're spending on education, and this represents the population. So you can see that Easton really falls kind of right in the middle. But if I were some of these towns at the top, I think this really helps inform as well towards the bottom. So you can see that, again, this is another way for the town officials to visualize where they're spending and also revenues sit amongst their peers. So that is ClearGov. Again, it's a financial transparency website for the town and its residents, as well as a business intelligence tool to make more informed budgetary decisions for government officials. So I will leave it there and see if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Hold on a second. One of the things you talked about was that on the different charts here, it says you can drill down into the numbers.
Yep.
Can you give us an example on that of what that would be? If you clicked on that section and what the numbering, what kind of financial information you would have?
When you're clicking into like public safety?
Yeah, whatever class.
So most of the towns, if you go to public safety, it's just going to stop there, right? Because when we get the data from the Department of Revenue, it's very high level. When we get the data from the town, we actually connect to their financial ERP system and extract the data in much greater detail. So that's why when we were on the Easton's website, we were able to click into public safety and see the breakout of police department, fire department, and then click into police department and see the breakdown of salaries. Easton is actually taking that a step further and posting salaries, but not names. So
Right.
they'll say police officer 1 salary. All that information is publicly available, but
Right.
again, they're making it a bit more accessible. So it's really up to the town as to how deep you want to go and how transparent you want to go. And I think you can kind of start at one place and build it out as you go as well.
Great. Yeah, I think that's some of the information we were trying to get to the website is a little more detailed financial information in an easy to read format. That's what everything's about here.
Yeah. So
and I just want to let everybody know when I did claim our page,
yes.
and 5 minutes after I claimed it, I got a call from Chris. That's what it gets. It tells Chris that you're looking at it, and he gives you a call. So that's what it first does for you.
Yeah,
And that's how we first started talking about this.
So if we clicked into the police department and just as a for instance, at the bottom of any of these panels right here, we envision adding a view more button, and that would drop down that kind of expand that panel. And if you wanted to see what made up the supplies and equipment, we could actually show the individual line items coming from your financial system.
Right. And that's what I was getting at. Can you get to that much detail?
We don't have a town that's doing that just yet.
Yeah.
Frankly,
yeah. But you could.
We could, and we'd
Yeah.
love to.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
We'd love to. We're really looking to partner with our municipality clients to really drive this to the next level and come up with some great ideas and really create some best practices. I think we're really at the tip of an iceberg. in financial transparency in municipalities. So the rules haven't been set yet. So we're looking for, as I say, partners to really take this thing to a whole new level.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Guys, any questions? Tom, Chris? Tom?
Yeah, thank you very much for that presentation, Chris. It was pretty enlightening, and we saw you at the MMA meeting, the conference there. It was pretty interesting. You had quite a group of people around you that day.
Yeah, it was a blizzard of people. It was good though. It's good.
I love the idea of transparency and letting people be able to log in and look at where everybody's money is going. But as a CPA myself, one of my problems is we provide different sources of data for which the data isn't always presented exactly the same.
Right.
And we wind up with different results.
Right.
For example, when I took a look at the 2014 information that you had, I compared it to the audited financial statements and I came up with different data.
Right.
So I think as a town, we have a choice whether we want you just to extract data from the DOR, which might come from something that no one else would be able to look at, or could we pull it, say, from our audited financial statements, or
Right.
could we pull it from our budget? Where do you see other towns trending?
When I see it trending towards the latter, so it's pulled directly from the town. When we create the foundation of the site, it's pulled from Schedule A data from the DOR. But the towns will come in and they have the ability to edit the numbers themselves. So if you click into the back office system and then click financials, you have the ability to edit all those numbers yourself. Certainly. When we're putting 2016 and 2015, the DOR doesn't even have that data, so that's going to be completely controlled by Linfield. And if we want to go back and look at 2013, 12, and previous years and make sure that they're correct and properly represented, we certainly want to do that.
Okay. And could you give me an idea of what the cost of your software is?
Yes. So we have basically a sliding scale based upon municipal population. So towns under 25,000 would be 7,000 per year.
Okay. Is that a flat fee per year?
It's a flat fee per year, and we're generally looking to do that on a fiscal year. So if we wanted to figure out a prorated price for the rest of this fiscal year, probably be several $1,000s. We would love to get the site up and running this year. As I understand, it was not a planned expense, but hopefully you're able to find some room in the budget that would accommodate the platform going up before the fiscal year, and then allow you to plan for the full fiscal year expenditure in 16.
Okay. And my last question is, the only other company that was at the MMA conference was this VizGov.
Yep.
And I sort of saw when you started to break it out by department in boxes that you had that same option as well. Could you tell us what the difference is between your company and VizGov?
Yeah. So VizGov is it's a nice platform. I think it's much simpler than much less feature rich than ClearGov. Specifically, all it is doing is representing your numbers, but there is no context to it. So they do not have any benchmarking where it's benchmarking against similar towns. And I think that's very, very important for residents to not only just see the total number, but see that broken down on a per capita basis and see how that benchmarks against similar town. It really puts it in context. Second, we're offering complementary metrics to the financials. So for the demographic information, we're able to compare towns down by home value, as well as providing that educational information that really provides, as I say, the numbers behind the education numbers. So we're really the only platform to build in these complementary figures, so to speak. And I think that's really important. Third, I would say that our infographic style is very, very unique and much different than just a straight kind of box graph. I think that it lends itself to citizens having an easier time digesting the information. Then lastly, we provide these back office tools that I think are very important for budgetary decisions, and can be very simple yet powerful, effective tool in making, more informed budgetary decisions, as I say.
Yeah, I think one of the differences I saw, because I had a long talk with the owner of VisGov, and they they set you up with the software. You pretty much enter it all and do a lot of it yourself.
Yeah.
It's kind of, they have a one-time fee. They say, here it is. Good luck with it after the first year. And,
Yeah.
and you can buy consulting for a couple of years from them on top of that, but it's a little different platform. They kind of let you go and run with it
Yeah.
instead of somebody behind it.
It's an open source software, so
Yeah.
you have to manage the software, you host it yourself. Really, anybody can edit the software itself. We're taking a much different approach. It's called a software as a service, where we host the service, we manage it for a yearly fee, and any updates that we make to the platform, you automatically get. So there's nothing that you have to manage. There's really no maintenance. The only effort on your part is to export the data from your financial system to our platform. Then we categorize it, you approve the categorization, and then you would go in and enter any comments. So it's something that can be set up in a couple of weeks. It's very lightweight on your department from a requirement standpoint.
When the website goes up, would you include the sources of the data that's being provided?
Yes. So
Because if the town has a choice, say we choose to work from our budget or work from the audited financial statements,
Right.
would you say this information is derived from the audited financial statements?
yeah. So right down here at the bottom of each section, it says where the town data source is from. Here they're saying it's from the Town of Easton Finance Department, but you would let us know what you want that to say, and if you want to link it to a file, a PDF, or
excellent.
an Excel spreadsheet, you can do that so they can actually download the data themselves.
Excellent, thank you.
Now, the other company that was there that does do this is the one that's tied in with Munis. It's Tyler Technologies.
Yep.
And how does this compare with the Munis Open Checkbook? Have you looked at the comparison between yours and theirs?
Munis Open Checkbook is a very proper name for itself. It basically gives citizens access to checkbook level detail. I think it's an interesting concept, but to me, I think it's almost like drinking from a fire hose. To see all the checks that are coming through is really not useful data. I think
We have some firemen here, so don't put that in the negative here.
I think it could actually be a complementary piece if you did want to show all the checks coming through. We haven't done anything like that yet. We've really been trying to concentrate on the infographic approach from a higher level, and then work our way down to more and more details. I think that's the way to go, is to make sure you get the high levels communicated properly, and then start to expand out there as people want more and more information, then start to put it out there. They also do have a transparency platform where they can show some charts and bar charts and pie graphs. But again, I think our approach to the infographic style is completely different. They don't have the benchmarking that we're showing, and they don't have the complementary demographic and education metrics or the back office tools.
Yeah. Looking at the three of them, you certainly have the ones with more detail as far as comparison. That's by far. And not the other ones don't do the comparisons.
So they don't do the comparisons between cities and towns?
No.
Because I thought the one thing that I appreciated from your presentation was comparing us to other communities and seeing the great work we're doing and getting the most of the bang for the buck
I appreciate it.
in the town of Winfield. I think that really, it allowed the residents to see how much more we're getting for the tax dollars. I really appreciated that concept of that website. How many cities and towns have went with you?
So we officially launched ClearGov, the premier service, on December 6th, and we've already gotten 31 towns in Massachusetts to claim their page. So in about a month and a half, about 10% of the Massachusetts towns have signed up for this platform. So far, 7 of them have upgraded to the paid platform, but we're in early conversations with many of them. So we've got, I think, a lot of good traction under our belts right now. And in February, we're going to be reaching out to New York and Connecticut So we're pretty excited about it.
And Easton was the first one up and running?
Easton was the first
Yeah.
one live. Warwick just went live.
Yeah.
We'll be pushing Athol, Norwell, Oxford, Northbridge, or I'm sorry, Northfield. Town of Framingham just signed up. So some pretty good names there.
Yeah, no. You get into something the size of the town of Framingham, that must be a detailed financial analysis.
We haven't gotten their data yet, but we're
Yeah.
excited for it.
Great.
They've got a lot of interesting dynamics in that town to really try to explain, especially in the education system.
Yeah.
So I think that the complementary education metrics really help them better tell that story.
Beautiful. Any questions, Pat?
Yes, when did you start developing this? You launched the first one December 6th. When did you start developing the software?
We started developing the software in April of 2015 and then launched the website, the public website, in June 22nd of 2015. And frankly, we didn't really have a business model at that point. We just put this information out there for residents. But within a few short weeks, some towns started reaching out to us and said, you know, we really like the way that you're presenting the data. We would like to be able to use this for our own website. And that's really kind of how the concept came about, to partner with cities and towns and help them with their financial transparency.
So since you developed the software, have you, it's been a short time, from April to December, have you discovered that you've made some, you know, you're giving some misinformation, and you say, oh shucks, I have to change this?
Well, I think the biggest thing that we learned and changed was when we first launched the site, it was only comparing towns on population. And we ran into the situation where you could have Upton being compared to Wellesley because they have similar populations. So that's when we plugged into the US Census and started pulling data out of there to get home value information. And that really changed the game and allowed us to find much cleaner and more appropriate benchmarks. We had to tweak our algorithm many times to get it to figure out towns' peers correctly. But that's probably the biggest thing that we've learned and changed over that period of time.
Oh, another thing is, I've discovered in looking at per pupil expenditures that figured into the Bureau of Elementary and Secondary Education, that they figure in grants that the town received with their per pupil expenditure. Have you looked at that at all? Because if a town doesn't get a lot of grants, it looks like their per pupil expenditure is lower than other towns that, you know, that apply for and get a lot
Right.
of grants.
Yeah, and as I understand it, it is a fully loaded number, so it does include that grant data. And that's where our platform becomes so powerful, because we give that commentary feature so that the town officials can add a little comment on there. So when we were looking at reserve funds, it's not up on the screen, but you can add small comments to each one of those pages. So if you wanted to explain that, you know, hey, we get less grant money than similar towns, you can add that commentary in there as well.
Well, with grants, though, similar towns, they'd be in the same boat we are with their ability to get grants. So be able to go through those communities, similar communities, like say North Reading has the same challenge getting grants as we do.
Yeah.
So that's why we compare similar
But
communities.
there's a lot of numbers behind it. It's not just the grants.
Yeah.
It's Title I students. It's ELL. There's a lot of numbers behind those numbers. We do show state aid in here. So if you go to revenues, and then you can see state aid for this town is quite large, and you can click view breakdown into state aid, and they've got 10.5 million in education aid. So, you know, we have all that data, and you can incorporate in there. And if we wanted to make that a bit more apparent, and the town thought that was important to highlight those figures, even on that page, we could do that.
Do you show the town indebtedness?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So right on the main page, actually, I can go to Linfield if you'd like.
Don't go there.
Hey, well, without debt, you wouldn't have schools and roads and all that. So it is. So the town of Linfield's got 25.8 million, which is 32% less than similar towns.
That's impressive.
That's 2014 total debt.
But we can manipulate that list if you wanted to grab communities that are closer to us, right? Can we manipulate
You
the
can't
comparison?
You can't change the comparisons on the public-facing website.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that everyone's using the same kind of metrics to compare each other. But when you are in the back office tools, you can compare debt using many different filters and figures and run your own comparisons that you would use in meetings like this, financial committee meetings. But this is the debt figure that's provided and recorded by the Department of Revenue as far as 2014 is concerned.
Great. Any other questions? No? Well, Chris, thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Very
Thanks for having me.
informative.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck with that.
Thanks. I left some flyers up here if anybody wants
Great.
more. There's information there.
Thank you, Chris. The next item tonight, we're going to talk about the appointment to the Rec Commission as an opening. We have two residents that have applied for this position, Rich Solberg and Wayne Schaefer. And what I'd like to do is bring you one at a time up to the podium. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, why you'd like to be on the Rec Commission. You know, Wayne, you can go first. Go ahead.
Gentlemen,
Wayne.
my name's Wayne Schaefer. I've actually been a pretty much lifelong Linfield resident. I served on the Rec Commission with Matt. I remember when you came on board. Kevin, you as well. And Chris, actually, when you came on. I think it's really great when so many people want to give back to the town and in this situation. Rich is stepping up to want to be on board as well. I think it's a real important part of the community. I think without a doubt, when we're looking at what the recreation department offers and part of the fabric of the community, I think from everything we see, it's real important. I also think it's important that as a kid growing up here, one thing that I really liked was, for lack of a better word, the recreation center was actually across the street from the library, and where the historic building is. I think it was, let me get it right, Mrs. Holt. Margaret Holt and Bradford was involved, and she took a pool table that she had and put it downstairs. Kids were able to go and play pool there and actually have a good time and hang out, if you will, short of being a strewn around the town. So the recreation committee and the recreation department, as it sets up, I think have always looked for a rec center. We've done an awful lot of things here. The fields are stellar. We look around through our community and people look at us and say, wow, we've got the best fields complex, bar none. They want to aspire to what we've always had. And as a kid, I've always looked playing in the fields that were back there in the middle school. The middle school is just great, but times change. We need bigger things. We need better things. I'd like to help. Been involved in the community for a bit, so hopefully it's something I can continue. Am I the best person for the job? I hope so. But I think it's good that everybody wants to go ahead and stand up and help. Whoever you decide to appoint, whether it be myself or Rich, I'd also like to help either way. So if I'm appointed, I'll help. If I'm not, I'd like to be involved in some of the future things that are going forward. Did you guys have any questions for me?
No, I've known you your whole life, Wayne. Anybody else?
Anybody in the audience? It's one of those things. It's really good that a lot of people want to get involved. So hopefully it works out good. Rich,
Great.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne.
Rich Solberg. Welcome, Rich.
Welcome, Tom. I'm one of those guys that just can't say no. And I've worked on many different projects in town since I've been in town. I've been in town 13 years, and honestly, I wish it was longer. I have 3 children in school, in the 8th grade, in the 5th grade, and the 1st grade. And I've been deeply involved in the PTO at Huckleberry for a number of years now. And Then a few years ago. Oh, thank you. Then a few years ago, when we started hearing rumblings about the fields project, I knew the condition of the grass fields that our children were playing on, and I thought is a phenomenal opportunity to bring those turf fields to town. So I joined the Fields Committee grassroots part of that and did what I could to successfully bring the turf fields to town. And not only in town did we want to do what we've done at the high school, but there are many other projects that need work, need attention, many of the other parks and playgrounds. So as a natural progression, I joined Linfield Townscape. And as part of Townscape, we are honestly working our butts off to do what we can to improve the parks and open spaces and playgrounds in town. And it's an ongoing process, but we're doing it. And then when I heard there was an opening on the Rec Commission, in the work that I had done through the Fields Committee and then Linfield Townscape, of course, I got to know Julie Millette and Matt Monkowitz. And of course, I have children, so we participate in the Rec Commission things. And I saw the open spot, and I said it just seemed like a natural progression of what I've already been interested in, what I've provided some positive feedback and help too in the things I've done already. And if I can help further on the rec board, I'd love to.
Great.
I'd love to.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I also have got a letter here from the Rec Commission. Matt, do you want to tell us what you guys had decided, or if you voted on this, and what the Rec Commission would recommend to us?
I think for a lot of the reasons that we have two very qualified candidates that I've known for many years while serving on various boards and committees and doing work around town. I think Rich brings a unique set of skills specific to some of the problems and opportunities facing rec in terms of being very intimately involved in the Fields project, continuing in some of the improvements to some of our facilities and properties. And I think he's demonstrated his ability to make real contributions in that respect. So the Rec Commission has voted unanimously to recommend Rich Schoberg.
Great. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? Well, that being said, I'd like to take a motion from the board.
I make a motion to approve Wayne Schaefer to Linfield Recreation Board.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Rich Solberg. Rich, you said it best. When I think of you as the go-to person. You are right. You're the person who can't say no. You've been a wonderful leader in the town of Linfield, and with two kids I have right now at the Huckleberry Hill School, they're benefiting from the fruits of your labor, so I thank you. I think I agree with the Recreation Commission with the unanimous decision to nominate a great person for the board, and I'm happy and proud to nominate you.
Well, I appreciate that from both of you, and I thank both of you for applying for this job. It's the town is run by volunteers, and we really appreciate anybody that comes out, and we get several volunteers here in the audience tonight, and people put a lot of time and effort into keeping the town the way it is and improving the town. And I certainly would like to concur with the Rec Commission and Mr. Barrett, and I would second his motion for Rich Solberg as the new member for the Rec Commission. So all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Rich, welcome to the board. Thank you very much. Wayne, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you. Matt, thanks for talking. Thanks. Next on the agenda, we have the Historical Commission Associate Member Appointment. I believe we just have one applicant, is this true?
Yes, he couldn't make it tonight.
Okay. Mr. Stephen Smith. Jim, has he spoken to the town hall? Stephen, has he?
He's talked to Bob.
Dr. Bob?
Yep.
Okay.
If you remember, he served on the bicentennial.
Yes. Yep.
Bicentennial committee, depending.
Yep. And I know Mr. Smith.
I actually talked with him many years ago when he was trying to bring the CPA to town.
That's a different Stephen Smith.
Is it?
And he also
It's a different Steve
Different
Smith.
Steve
It's a different Steve Smith.
Commission at one point.
And I know I talked to him about the center farm.
And he might, this Steve Smith might also have been interested in that too. But I know the one who was prominently active in trying to pass the CPA was a different Stephen
That was a
Smith.
different Steve,
Both
different
have been
Steve Smith.
involved with
Yeah,
this story.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I met with this Steve Smith about center farm and trying to repurpose it, etc. And met with them back in the spring, and they've been working on it. I don't know how far along they've come, but he's certainly well qualified, very interested
Yeah.
in assisting. So
He's got an impressive resume.
absolutely.
He's a graduate lecturer at Northeastern in nonprofit management courses, marketing, fundraising, and leadership program. So, that being said, I would take a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve Steve Smith to the Historical Commission
I second,
He's an associate.
As associate member.
as an associate.
Associate member.
and I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Stephen, welcome, and thank you for volunteering. Next item tonight, the part of our budget review. We're going to start tonight with the police department. Chief Breen, welcome.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed the ClearGov presentation, and I saw that the police budget was reflected in a graphic of 4.5 million, and I accept.
I believe that was public safety.
No, public safety overall was 9 million. All right, let's look at this. We'll start with the operating budget for FY17. Per the town administrator, we did not increase any of the salary items pending negotiations. So the police chief's salary, the matron's salary, and dispatcher's salary were all level funded. The patrolman's salary was increased only by step raises. We have approximately 8 officers. When they start out here, they start on step 1 generally, and they progress each year up 1 step. So since we have such an influx of new officers here over the past few years, that increased that line item by 21,000. So it went from 1,349 up to 21. And that's the only increase in that line item. The traffic salaries was level funded. The clerical salaries was also level funded. Dispatchers overtime was also level funded. We are looking to increase a line item for dispatchers training. That is based on the Next Gen 911 and in-house EMD certifications and Con Ed classes. Some of this is deferred by grant money, but we must pay out the money first before we are reimbursed by the state. Sometimes those reimbursements, I had a discussion with the town accountant about this last week. These reimbursements can take months, if not longer. So when the grant money does come in, that will go back into the general fund. The patrolman longevity, traffic longevity was level funded. Dispatcher's holiday increased just $400, which was also caused by step increases, as was patrolman holiday increased approximately $500. Dispatcher's EMT stipend was level funded. Patrolman school credit, that was increased because of 3 new officers we have. I had a discussion with the town administrator about this, and there may be an increase in that line item. If you have any questions on that one, I'll defer to the town administrator. But that was an increase of approximately $15,000. The patrolman overtime was level. Actually, that line item was $358,383 last year. FY14, that line item was $375,000. We're looking to return to our FY14 levels. We're currently at 63.9% right now, and we still have 5 months to go. So we're looking to return to where we were 3 years ago, to 375. The training for the patrol officers was $96,000 FY16. We are looking to increase that by 51,000, which is a huge percentage increase. However, the reason for that is based solely on EMT certification. We have 2 officers in the EMT classes right now. We have 7 more officers that need to go through. We've done a lot of hiring over the last few years. That figures out to 7 officers times 160 hours for the class, times the average base salary of overtime, which is $46 an hour. That tabulation comes out to $51,520. So that is the sole increase in that line item from 96 to 147,520. The clothing and cleaning allowance is level funded. Training expenses has been level funded, as have chief's training, radio repairs and maintenance, and vehicle repairs and maintenance. Let me just check on the vehicle repairs. We had an increase in that one. Because, don't check that. That was level funded. We had an increase in tires, I'll get to that. The radio maintenance contract was a small increase of $250, which is because of additional mobile licenses from IMC, which is $250 increase over last year. So from $23,750 we went to $24,000 in our request. The next 2 items, NEMLEC accreditation and public safety software, were level funded. Telephone expenses. This line item, we're looking for an increase of $960. Let's check that, 11,000, and that is because we have an increase in a couple of costs. We need 2 new cell phones. One will be for our detective sergeant, and one will be for the on-call detective. The detective sergeant is the supervisor. We also have 2 part-time detectives who will be on call for those periods when the sergeant is on vacation. They'll be sharing that, whoever's on call for that particular week. So those 2 additional phones, and also for the Verizon expense for the air cards for the 2 new cruiser laptops. So the increase there is going to take that line item to 19,625.
No, let's just correct that. You said 11,000, it's actually 1,100.
It's 1,100.
So everybody's wondering what kind of phones we're buying.
Yes,
They're nice ones, yeah.
you are right, 1,100. From 18,525 to 19,625. Office supplies, we level funded. Tires, there's an increase here of $500. The reason for that is we have a lot of SUVs, and the SUV tires tend to wear out much quicker than the old Crown Vics. And we are currently at 67% there. So we added $500 for that line item. The ammunition supplies, we're asking for a major increase in this line item. I think we asked for $4,000 last year. We got 2, and we've expended all of that money. And we have officers who not only do they train twice a year, but we're going to have someone in the academy who will be training for the original appointment at the academy, but they'll also have to come out and train with our weapon systems as well. So we've asked for $6,000 there, as opposed to 2 in FY16. The next 2 line items, subscription of books and medical supplies, we've level funded. The dues and memberships, there's a slight increase there because of NEMLEC and Mass Chief. They've raised the fees for their memberships, so that's increased by about $270. The other expenses, photo ID, uniform accessories, medical drug exams are all level funded. Equipment, we're looking for an increase there from $14,000 to $16,500, primarily because of new cruisers that we'll be getting. We have new vest carriers, new vaults for the cruisers. We used to be able to change vaults from one Crown Vic to another, but now we're going to a different vehicle. They no longer make the Crown Vics. Medical bags and the 2 vaults, that comes out to approximately $16,500 for a total. And computer accessories, which is the last line item, we had approximately, it was 3892 in FY16. We're looking for 64. The reason for that is, as I mentioned, we're looking for 2 new computers. We need, these will be in-house. We need a new computer for this dispatches area, which is, that computer is 7 years old. And also, we need printers for the station. So the increase there is from 3892 to 64, the request. And that is my operating.
Do we have a percentage here? What that increases? Jim, did we figure out a percentage?
Trying to pull it up right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not much, percentage-wise. Chief, on the overtime, now that we have a full complement.
Sorry, 3.6.
3.6, thank you. Chief, a full complement on staff, do you think the overtime would probably drop a little more than what you're asking for?
I think it will eventually, but we're still 1 officer short. We're trying to get an officer in the academy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, civil service has been somewhat slow in their response to us. So we're looking to try to get an original appointment into the academy. Unfortunately, most of the academies have already started in January.
Yep.
We do have a March academy, but that officer will not be out working the street until March or April of 2017. So pretty much
You'll be
wipes
that
out
one
this
short for the year.
FY17. So we currently have an officer who is out injured as well. K-9 officer made an arrest right here at Market Street. And during the arrest, there was a struggle, and the person who was arrested landed on his ankle. And he has some issues with his ankle and his back, so it might be an extended period of time.
Yeah.
It's already been probably 10 weeks that he's been out.
Sorry to hear that. So what is the current situation with the new cadet?
They have a list which they've released, but it hasn't been certified. Once it's certified, then we can conduct, we're using a formula of 2N plus 1, which is 2 times the number of officers you're looking to hire, plus 1.
Right.
If we're looking to hire 1, it's 3 people that we have to interview. I've seen the list, but I'd rather not comment on it because it's not certified.
Yep.
But there certainly are people in the list that I think would be good candidates to be hired.
Sure. Great.
In this, Chief, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
In this part of the budget, you already have that officer's payroll covered?
Correct.
The new hire? And do we have adequate funding in here for the traffic officer?
We currently, we took up, well, the answer is no, there won't be. Because when we hire that person, we funded $24,000 of that line item and that salary to fund the overtime for traffic. So if we're going to look to continue that when the officer is hired, then we're gonna have to look for alternative funding for the overtime.
But if we have that officer, then there's really no need of the overtime.
If we have that officer, once he's trained and ready to go, that officer will be earmarked for traffic. So, yeah, so again, if it's going to be a year and we wanna continue until that time, I think we can make an adjustment with the town accountant to do what we're currently doing if that's what the board wishes.
Okay.
And I'd like to comment on, when I finish the budget part, I have some information on the traffic enforcement, what we've done, and I know that we've received some very good response from that, so. But I'll get to that.
Okay,
Before I
great.
do, let's look at the capital. Typically, I ask for 2 new cruisers. This year, we're looking at 3. The reason is, we have an animal control officer who has approximately 170,000 miles on the Tahoe. So what we typically do is we purchase a vehicle, and it's kind of a top-down approach. The new vehicle goes to the top, and the rest trickle down, trickle-down economics. The captain's vehicle has 110,000 miles. So what we do is the new one would be assigned to me. The captain would get mine, and the animal control officer would get the other one. The animal control officer's vehicle, it needs quite a lot of repair. 165,000 for a vehicle, especially one that's, when it was in service, was running a lot more than just a regular passenger car. So we're looking for 1 Tahoe and the Ford Explorer, which will be a supervisor's car, The supervisor's car now is a Tahoe. I think the Ford Explorer will be something that we can use in that position because there'll be some cost savings to the town. The Tahoe is off of government bids, $53,890. The Explorer is $39,260. And then, of course, you have to do some electronic work on that as well for lighting and radio. So the captain's vehicle has 108,000 miles. It's a 2008. I used it when I first got on as a sergeant many years ago. And we have a detective. Unfortunately, the detective is using a vehicle that was donated to us. It's not outfitted with any police lighting, radios. It's really just a passenger car. And that vehicle, according to our mechanic, needs approximately $4,000 worth of work, not including the lighting, which I wouldn't even put in the vehicle because I think you'd be wasting money. So we have Sergeant Secretary right now in that position. I think we need an unmarked car for him. And that is the reason why, for the first time in 6 years, I've asked for more than 2 cruisers. The radio site replacement, Fire Chief Mark Tatro and I have been asked by the South Water District to replace our repeater. The repeater is located on their ladder. They want to relocate that, and it's not a safe place for our repeater to be. The repeater, I don't have dates on it, but I've been in town for 22 years, and I think it's beyond that. So we had a company come in, and we looked at it, and they said that it's beyond its serviceability. We're looking for something that, if we're going to replace it, that will give us interoperability with state police and other agencies. So we're looking to go digital, which eventually we'll have to shift to. So if we're going to replace it now, we feel that right now is the time to do it right, rather than duplicate our efforts 5 to 10 years down the road or less. So the cost that we have for that is approximately $74,000, which will be split 50% by the police department and 50% by the fire department. So my request in number 2 on my capital budget for FY 2017 is $37,000. We're in phase 2 of our portable radio upgrade. We replaced 12 radios last year, and we're looking to complete that phase this year. That's phase 2, which is a request of $34,157. With that comes all the accessories, which are the bank chargers, the battery, the holsters, the antennas. Those are all additional costs. And with new officers coming on board, an increase in the need for new radios.
And how many is that, Chief? Another 12 or?
Another 12. So
Yeah.
we did 12 of last year. We're looking for the second half in a request this year. Taser units. We currently have a demand from the officers or a request to have tasers. So we're looking to purchase 3 of those at a cost of $43.37. The radar unit that we have, we're looking to replace, is over 10 years old. We certainly are getting the use out of it, and we will with a traffic enforcement officer, because we can use the one we have as long as it's certified calibrated. But the new one will go to the traffic officer, and the officers that are in the areas can also use the spare, and we'll have a backup. That cost is $25.59. The mobile computer replacement, looking for 2. We have one right now that is not operable, and we need another one for the new cruiser. So we're looking for 2, one to replace the old non-operable one for the new cruiser, for a value of $64.32. A portable breath test unit, we're requesting 2 of those at $2,200 total, $1,100 apiece. The number 8 is patrol rifles and equipment. We have 9 deployed. We only have 1 spare. So currently, when we have 3 areas plus the supervisor, we have a K-9 officer at times, we have an SRO. We like to have everybody be armed with a patrol rifle, which is think only, right? If we get 4, we'll be able to have a few spares so that if something goes down, we can replace that with one of those. And also for when we shoot, to qualify a couple times a year, we don't have to take it out of the cruiser, which would mean that the officer is working an area without the backup long gun. The value of that is $8,000, $2,000 a piece at times 4 for the gun plus equipment. Electronic keypad for the dispatch area. We have a door in there that is not secured electronically. If there's something going on in the station and the dispatcher feels threatened, or if there's a fight in the cell block, they have a slide lock. Unfortunately, if anything happens inside the dispatch area, we can't get inside there unless the door is forced, or we go around. So we asked for this, I think, last year and the year before. The cost of that for the electronic keypad, which works on the fob, is $3,300. And supervisors' workstations, we have an office with 3 supervisors in it right now. These workstations will replace old metal desks. I don't even know where we got those. But they're not conducive to electronics. The new ones they'll be L-shaped. All 3 will fit in the same office. They'll have a desk, L-shaped desk, which has the appropriate electronic plugins, and a shelf for books and materials. 3 of those are valued at $3,351 for a total of $226,706.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions from the board? Tom?
No, it looks like just a continuation on from maintaining the equipment that the police department needs. And we did lose was it this past year that we lost one of the trucks that was totaled? When
We
was
did.
it T-Bones? It was this past year?
Yeah, we lost it for a period of time. We actually had that serviced, and that's the vehicle that I'm looking to have replaced. That's the one that, the supervisor's vehicle that has 108,000 miles on it. That's a 2008.
Was that the one you parked in front of Town Hall? We talked about this last time, so we could all, you know.
Conspicuously parked
Yeah,
right in
just-
front of the
yeah,
door.
just-
That's the
So
one.
we happened to see it on the way in? That was the one, yeah.
I'll take you for a ride for it later on if you'd like.
So this looks pretty solid. I really appreciate you doing all that you could to keep level funded on most of your expenses. And I think once you get your full complement of officers, then we should see some real savings at some point.
I think as long as we're a healthy department, we don't have anybody out injured, we'll definitely see a reduction.
Chris?
Thank you.
Let's look at the traffic enforcement.
Sure.
So we started this on November 9th, and this runs from 8 to 12, Monday through Friday. We had a large amount of the enforcement in the Walnut Street area because that was an area that was, the residents were very vocal from some of the problems we've had. I know I've received emails from at least 2 or 3 people who were very happy with what they've seen.
Mm-hmm.
We've stopped a lot of trucks for the overweight exclusion on Walnut Street from south of Salem Street. So my comparison that I did was from 11/9 of 14 to 125 of 15, and 11/9 of 15 to 125 today of 2016. And the verbal warnings increased over 100% to 118 verbal warnings for that time period for those hours. The citation warnings increased 400%. Citation arrests increased 100%. Citation civil charges increased 200%. And criminal complaint applications increased from 2 to 26. I didn't do a computation on that, but the total of all of those enforcement efforts was 106 from 14 to 15 during those 2 months, and this year it's 348. So the officers are out there. I happened to stop a vehicle on Walnut Street and issue a citation there myself, and I had with a Linfield resident. And I had the hearing last week, and there were a lot of officers there who were there to go to the hearings, and a lot of those hearings were for truck violations. So the word is definitely getting out. There's less trucks. They all have the same excuse that the GPS directs them down there. But, you know, when you ask them if they drive down Storrow Drive because the GPS told them to, the answer is always no. So we know what they're doing, but the word is getting out, and hopefully, if we continue this, we've been spreading it out to other areas. Initially, like I said, it was Walnut Street, which I would say it probably is about 75% of the time. But as we get requests from other areas in town, we're also having the officers conduct traffic enforcement in those areas.
Well, I appreciate that, Chief. Hold on. I appreciate that, Chief. I drive that way to work every morning, and I would say every single morning that you have someone either at the end of Sparhawk or along Walnut Street, they have someone pulled over. And typically it's a truck. You don't usually see a car. It's typically a truck, and who shouldn't be down that street in the first place. So I do commend you on taking care of that. Would you say three to 4 days a week? There's someone on the.
Usually Monday through Friday from 8 to 12.
It is Monday through Friday, so it is. You are doing it full time.
It's filled
Yeah.
almost every single day.
Yeah.
Occasionally we'll have,
Yeah.
if we have a lot of people in court, we might miss a day here or there.
Right.
It's been probably about
No, it's
80% filled.
It's working now. Can you see it reducing the amount of trucks taking that corner?
From what I hear from the residents, the amount of trucks have been reduced.
Mhm.
They still sneak through if we have a truck stopped. Obviously, you can't go after one. And if you get beyond a certain location, it's difficult to stop the truck, especially as you get down towards Gianna. It's very tight down there, so if they get past Blue Jay, you have to let them go.
Yeah, well, and I've seen them pulled over a couple times on the side of the road. You know, but you can still get around them, but it is a little more tricky.
It's tough down there.
Yeah.
It's pretty tight.
Yeah.
What I like to do is, when I was there, is Sparhawk's the best, because you can pull them right, it's a wide street. And I think the residents at the corner there, the Casolis, and appreciate our efforts.
You know, and what's the as far as speeding goes? I mean, I know speeding's it's an intimidation thing. Also, if they know there's going to be a cop there or a car down the road, they'll slow down. Have you seen a reduction in the speeding?
The officers are saying it's getting more difficult to find people speeding to excess.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is because they're seeing a lot of officers there. I think part of it is because people are flashing their lights because there aren't a lot of officers there, but whatever the effect.
Right, still works.
Glad
Yeah, it still works. Great. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And
to hear that you weren't one of the ones that was stopped.
no, they usually flash the lights on the way by. Yeah.
Chief, we talked a while back about the citations that are given right now. The town gets 50% of the proceeds. Is that how that works?
If the citation is written under Massachusetts general law, the town gets 50%, the state gets 50%.
So is that what we get for the trucks and speeding and what have
Trucks,
you?
unfortunately, are a $55 violation. So when somebody appeals it, which a lot of them do because it's...
Excuse me, Chief. Can you push your button on your mic?
I shut
There you
that
go.
off. Sorry about that. The trucks are a $55 violation. So if you do the math, it's not a lot of money. But I think where we get the impact is the truckers are taking a day off from work to go to PB District Court and sit around for a few hours. And the magistrate, reads the riot act. If they don't have any priors and have a good driving record, the magistrate will typically issue a verbal warning or a warning to them. So he'll also let them know that they should let their brother and sister truckers in their respective organizations know that you can't take that road from south of Salem Street. Hopefully the word is getting out through that, but it's having an impact, and it's not the $55 that the truck is, it's the insurance and all of that. So the CDL's a much more stricter license to carry.
Do you think we should do something so that we could collect? Isn't there a way for us to change our bylaws so we can collect a whopping 100%?
We talked about that, and I think we can, and I'll defer to the town administrator. Which town meeting can we make the changes to the bylaws? Is it the fall or the spring, Mr. Boudreau?
I'll have to go look, but generally it's the annual town meeting that you do bylaw changes.
Why wouldn't we go for the 100%?
We would just, if we created some type of, we talked about a failure to obey DPW sign. So we have signs down there that say trucks beyond a certain weight are not allowed 10,000 pounds. We write them up because it's the only way we can right now under a $55 violation. We could do a graduated one where it's $100 for a violation, first time, 200 second, and 300 third or subsequent. We'd be getting $100 instead of $27.50.
So what are the circumstances that we can change that bylaw to? Are we familiar with that?
I think we need to have town meeting, but also town council take a look at that and perhaps draft something.
So is that something we can do, Jim? Can we have Tom Mullen take a look at that?
Yeah, we talk to him tomorrow, but
Yeah.
if Dave can find something from the workhouse, so he's not doing it from scratch, some examples would be a lot quicker and easier.
Right. 'Cause, well, the question is, why isn't it that way in the beginning? You know,
Yeah,
why,
let's
why
do-
wouldn't we already have it that
why
way?
wouldn't we?
You know, I wasn't familiar with it.
Are we missing something?
You know, was there a state provision that they got half?
It's been that way in
Isn't there a collection issue or something for that, that if we leave it the way it is, the state does something for us, whereas if we collect 100%, there's some additional responsibility on our part?
I think the state collects the money, then disperses it from there. If we cite them under a town bylaw, then the money would come from district court straight to us. And it's always nice, if we go into the general fund, it wouldn't come to the police department, so there would be no appearance of impropriety.
If you're delinquent on a state ticket, then the state issues the directive and you can't get your license renewed, you can't get your registration renewed. I don't think you can do that on a town bylaw violation. I don't think we have that option, so it's harder to collect if people don't pay.
I'll have to check into that, how we could enforce it. Parking tickets, if they don't pay parking tickets for us, then they have their license non-renewable. We might be able to make a similar request based on a civil infraction off of a town bylaw.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be able to enforce collection until that person went to the registry to renew a license or registration. They wouldn't allow them to do it until they came to the municipality and got a receipt and then went back. But I will check into that.
Well, when you pay excise tax, that deals directly with the municipality. And I know from a handful of clients that they moved out of state, came back, didn't get their excise tax bill, and when they come back, they have a little surprise waiting for them, no license. So there must be some workaround there, and hopefully we could find that, because it'd be nice to, if the officers are gonna work that hard to try to take care of the whole Walnut Street and whatever issues that might come up, it'd be nice for us to keep the money.
I agree.
Great.
So Jim was looking at that tomorrow, and Kevin will try to maybe possibly put something together for the town warrant. Chief, thank you. Any other questions from the residents? No? Chief, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Chief.
it. We go from Chief Green, to Chief Tatro. Fire Chief. I know one of your budget items is gonna be 37,000. Welcome, Chief.
Good evening. I'll try and be brief tonight. We've kind of already reviewed the big item in this year's budget, which is staffing. And my presented budget is reflective of the staffing changes at the direction of the town administrator. Going through our lines, for the most part, discretionary lines I increased by the amount of the Boston Consumer Price Index, which is 0.7%. And the reason for that is so that we can keep pace with the cost of inflation and increased cost of goods and services. And so it levels out the increases in the budget, so I don't have to come back to you and say, oh, I need to increase this line by 200% because we haven't increased it over the years. So I've broken the budget down into some major areas. The first one is administration, which includes my salary, things like uniforms, telephones, subscription dues, and other expenses. And there's a couple areas where I've increased more than the 0.7%. One is in subscriptions. Most of that increase is due to we have our reporting software that we use for recording our incidents, and we pay a subscription fee for that. and I haven't been able to find anywhere in the budget where we've actually budgeted for that. And we take it out of that subscription line, and we always overspend that line. So this year I put in there what monies of what we're actually spending as opposed to overspending it every year.
I only see a $23 increase from the 2016 revised budget, $3,376. Dues and membership?
No, subscriptions.
subscriptions
Next
is
one,
bucks.
next one up.
Okay.
That's an increase of, it goes up to 5,150. And then other expenses, again, we seem to overexpend that line every year, and I increase that to reflect what we're actually expending in the budget. The largest increase is in fire department operations, and the largest increases are in personnel lines, and that is reflective of the new staffing, and also includes some of the offsetting savings. In the operations side, we don't see as much offsetting savings because it's based on fewer callbacks. Most of our 60% of our callbacks are medical, so only 40% are of the callbacks come out of this line. So we see a smaller offsetting savings. Where we see a larger offsetting savings is in the EMS lines. Like I said, 60% of our callbacks are on the EMS side. So on the EMS enterprise, we've actually gone from a larger budget, almost $80,000 less this year than we requested last year, and that's because of the offsetting savings with the 12-hour shift. And then in fire alarm maintenance, again, most of that is kept to the 0.7% increase. Any questions on the operating budget? Like I said, I didn't want to go back over the staffing plan again. We've already heard that, and the figures, the actual figures, have worked out pretty close to what the variant was in the staffing report.
Yeah, I don't think the savings in the EMS side that you had anticipated in that first report is equivalent to what you put in here. I think you put something about twice as much as this in your original estimate when you gave us a report before. But I don't necessarily agree with the new staffing plan as presented, and I certainly think this has got to certainly be discussed in detail between now and town meeting before. I would say this board and typically in town meeting would be comfortable with a staffing plan that is going to cost the town another $300,000 to $400,000 for something that we aren't really comfortable with that's even going to fix what you're hoping it's going to fix. So I think there's still some tweaks here we got to talk about, but I certainly I don't plan on doing that tonight. But I just want to let you know that this is still a serious work in process that's still at its beginning stages. So the rest of it's all, reasonable because you're just doing a minor increases. But the staffing plan itself, I know you've put some time into it. We've talked about it, but we've got to really look at that and see how much that's going to benefit your issues with your staff, and possibly what other things we could probably do without adding that much to your budget. So we can like I said, talk about that in the future. But I don't have any other questions about it. Does fellow board members?
We had a little chat about this today, the chief and I, and my concern was, is this adequate to fix the problem? And this is unusual because I'm the one never wanting to spend. So there appears to be an issue for addressing a lot of the overtime needs with regular full-time staffing. And I liked the idea of the blend between, I'm not totally on board with the adding 2 more full-time people, but that's one way to do it, and activating the call firefighters as much as possible. And we talked about that before. So some blend there has to be, as long as there's a give and take and we can adequately provide that bell curve that you provided. It's really important to cover as many of those hours as possible. And before, I know we weren't, and I voiced some reservation with you today about that I want to make sure that we're covering as much of that bell curve. And I think the way it is right now, you said you were covering up until 7 o'clock,
Correct.
and I thought the bell curve went a little later than that, if my memory serves me right.
It does. The call volume begins to drop off around 7 p.m. and really is a somewhat of a downhill slope until about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And I did take that under advisement when we talked before, and I talked to as many of the call people as I could individually, and we sat down and talked about that. And there were a few people that said, definitely they feel that covering till 10 or 11 o'clock at night was a good idea. But the vast majority seem to indicate that between 7 and 11 at night is kind of a call firefighter's wheelhouse. That's where they, after, you come home from work, you have dinner with your family, you're starting to relax, and then 7 o'clock comes and you're available to go on calls, and then the call volume drops off about 11 o'clock at night when you're ready to go to bed. So that the call people I spoke with, again, said that was when they're most available to come back for calls. Whereas if we covered the stations till 10 or 11 o'clock at night, the call people would be left with, kind of the late night calls and having to get out of bed, and the less desirable responses, so to speak. So keeping with that in mind, I haven't changed the hours of coverage at this point beyond 7 p.m.
Well, that's 7 to 11 if you actually scheduled the call firefighters instead of them, the bell or call, however, whatever that mechanism is. What happens if you just scheduled that time slot? But for me, the important thing is we have to have some harmony between the staff and accomplishing our goals. And the main goal is to keep Lynnfield safe. Someone dials 911, either the blue lights or the red lights have got to get there as quickly as possible. Every second counts. So if, as a unified group, everybody's coming up with something that they believe will work, outside of being a bean counter, that's beyond me. But you know how to run a fire department. You guys know how to service the people and keep everybody safe. We're counting on your expertise to, at least for me, you're steering the ship for me. And my goal is to make sure we keep everybody in Lynnfield safe. So we really need you to drill down, do what you can to keep costs down as much as possible, but give the town the very best fire service and EMS service possible. So if you as a cohesive group could all accomplish that, personally I'd be very appreciative.
And I truly believe that the 12-hour plan is first of all, it's the most economical. It's a natural growth of our fire department from the 1970 model, and it also incorporates our call people. I think one of the secondary goal beyond public safety is to maintain our call force. Our call force is what has given us the operational efficiency that I don't think a lot of other communities have. And even if we were to say we're going to go with 24 hours a day coverage, we're going to spend a lot more money for firefighters in the station, and we're going to get less service because our call force brings so much more to the table than we could possibly afford to do with all career staff.
Today we also talked about, was there a way of shifting expenses from a firefighter / paramedic to, since most of the calls are coming in for the paramedics, are we better off fully staffing the ambulances and not so much a fireman? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, when we hire new career staff, we target people that are trained as both paramedics and firefighters that can do multiple roles. The other thing is if we fully staff the ambulance with 2 people, that's still generally not enough. The industry standard is that we send a fire truck, and that's so that we can perform simultaneous medical operations. One person be getting vital signs, one person can be starting an IV, another person can be getting personal information about the patient. We need people to help transport the patient maybe downstairs. So there's a lot of jobs that need to be done. Once the person's in the back of the ambulance, we may need more than one person in the back of the ambulance, again, to continue with that treatment. And then the other people can return to quarters, and then they have their toolbox with them, and they're ready to go to work on the next call. I guess to answer your question, we do cross-train our people. It's a little bit more difficult with call people. Becoming a paramedic as a call firefighter is a huge commitment. And we've only required that they be basic EMTs at this point. We do have a number of people who have remained call people who have gone on to get their paramedic, and I definitely compliment them. That's a huge commitment for a part-time job.
Thank you.
Chief, just want to thank you for the plan notes and ambitious plan you've worked with your staff. I think it was Tom, you said, let's keep Linfield safe. And I agree, Phil, as you said, it's a big expenditure for the town of Linfield, and I think you have to continue to do what you're doing to build this case, provide us with the data that is absolutely necessary to making this big decision for the town. I think we have wonderful firefighters, and I think this is a wonderful way of providing, building a plan of support so that we can get that response time to where we need it to be and move beyond that 1970s model fire department that we have. So I think it's a right step in the right direction. I think we have a couple of months until town meeting. You meet with the finance committee to continue to build that case with the data. I think that infographic, as Tom was talking with the EMTs, the one you showed with at the scene of an automobile accident, all the different people that are responding, from the police to the fire to the ambulance. I think it's important we have that type of service in Linfield. So I think it's, again, as I said last time, a step in the right direction. And I think I said at that point, do we go far enough? And to make sure we have that coverage and that we need and we deserve as a community, and provide some relief to our firefighters and our call firefighters who are putting a lot of burden to respond to these calls. So I thank you.
And I would definitely echo that, and that we have put a big burden on our call force. And Mr. Terranova mentioned, scheduling people to respond to calls, and we've actually done that. And we're firefighters, so we're naturally resistant to change. But even though some of our call firefighters aren't crazy about the idea, they've all chipped in and said, I don't necessarily like it, but I'm going to do it. And that ensures that we have at least some people responding to the call. And what that means for our call firefighters is right now they're on call one night a week, from 6 at night till 6 in the morning, and they're on call for every 7-week rotation. They're on call for a 12-hour weekend day shift. And I think the weekend day shift is probably more problematic than the night shift. The 12-hour rotating shift takes that weekend day shift out of the call firefighters' responsibility, and I think that will be a big help to the program as well.
I think, Chief, as I said when I sat down with you to go over this plan, is I wanted to make sure everybody was at the table, and you've assured me of that, from the call firefighters to the career firefighters, to make sure everybody's at the table and putting together a plan that is beneficial to Linfield and one that we need. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
We'll work on, move over to capital.
Okay, as far as the capital budget this year, I have, typically we request $10,000 a year for hose, and we're not caught up, but we have a year where we don't necessarily need the $10,000, so we reduce that request to $5,000. Conversely, this year, our personal protective clothing was all purchased on a grant, and personal protective clothing has a shelf life, and after 10 years, it's not rated anymore. And we're approaching that 10-year mark, so I've included that $5,000 from hose down in personal protective equipment, increasing that line to $15,000. Along with our personal protective equipment is a washer extractor. There's a mounting body of evidence that tells us that we need to clean our protective clothing on a more regular basis. There are a number of carcinogens in smoke, and I know we don't have the huge apartment house fires, but even going to a small car fire, after that fire you have to wash your gear and get all that smoke out of it, or blood, or whatever else you got on your protective equipment. So that washer extractor is pretty important. 3 years ago we asked for 2 washer extractors, and we reevaluated last year and said, well, we can get by with 1. And then this year, we did some competitive shopping and actually reduced our request for 1 extractor down by $2,000 to $8,000. So hopefully you'll be favorable on that request. Radio upgrades. We requested $19,700 in radio upgrades, and this is a two-pronged approach. We've applied for an Assistance to Firefighters grant to replace all our mobile and portable radios. The benchmark for the Assistance to Firefighters grant is if the radios are 15 years old or more, which our radios are. So there's a fairly good chance we'll get funded for that. And if we get funded, that $19,700 represents the community's share of that grant funding. So that, if we were to get awarded that grant, that would take care of all our radios. If not, it could be used for phase 1 of our radio replacement program. Like I said, that technology is 15 years old, and as we know, anything in technology that's 15 years old is ancient. We requested $5,000 in information technology, and that's for computer workstations, laptops, tablets, station status boards, and so forth that are becoming disposable equipment. We requested $10,000 in dispatch upgrades. The municipal fire alarm system comes into the fire station, and there's a digital readout that tells us where the emergency is. In the dispatch center, there's only a 4-digit code that tells the dispatcher where the emergency is, so they have to then look that up and figure out where it is. We identified this problem last year when 2 fire alarms came in simultaneously, and it just overloaded the 4-digit monitor over in dispatch, and the dispatcher had no idea where they needed to send us. So this $10,000 gives us a remote computer screen in dispatch, so as alarms come in, they can see exactly where they are. It gives them a readout as to what's going on. They don't have to look up the 4-digit code, and it'll accommodate simultaneous alarms. As Chief Breen mentioned, the fire department share for the Route 1 radio site is in our request. The next couple things, we're the victim of planned obsolescence. Our reporting software, the manufacturer or the designer has told us that they're no longer going to support the platform that we have. And to upgrade to the new platform is going to be about $11,900. In addition to them not supporting the old platform, the new platform should be a lot better for us, and that any computer workstation, whether it be at your home or in one of the other stations or in town hall, we should be able to access that software, sign in, and do a report. So it's going to make things a little easier for us. The next thing is automatic external defibrillators. These, I believe, are about 10 years old, and when they break, the manufacturer will not repair them anymore. So to replace all the automatic defibrillators in the fire apparatus and the police cruisers, be about $15,000. And that's we were able to get some competitive pricing on that, and that's why it's only $15,000. And then the largest item is our request for a new pumper. Our engine 3 is 31 years old. It's been a great fire truck. It's served its time, but it's pretty tender. We're probably one major repair away from being a paperweight. There's actually a hole worn in the pump housing, and the mechanic has put a bolt in the pump housing to keep it from leaking. A pump rebuild on that is probably between $20,000 and $30,000. Again, much more than the vehicle is worth. And we requested the apparatus last year, and I think we're at the point where it's critical that this get funded. I understand that we're retiring the debt on the ladder truck, so hopefully we can reallocate that to a new pumper.
Are there any available grants or any funding throughout the industry for the pumper?
We applied for a grant last year, and it was not funded. We've applied again this year. Grants for apparatus is very, very competitive. It's very difficult to get a grant for apparatus. I have been successful in the past, so I know how to do it. It's just it's very competitive.
Does the qualifications for the grant have a lot to do with the demographics and the affluence of the town?
A lot of things play into that. Not so much the demographics, but we need to be able to paint a picture of the community is unable to fund the purchase on their own. So definitely in the narrative for the grant, we have to emphasize the things that are the economic stressors on Linfield, like the need to improve our roads. That the economic downturn in Massachusetts affected us probably more severely than a lot of the rest of the country. That our facilities have not been upgraded, and we need to look at that in the future. So I'm not saying we have to emphasize what stresses the economy in Linfield. In a poorer community, it would be a little easier.
Okay, well, I don't have any other questions on the capital. Any from the board members, no? Okay, Chief, want to move along to the EMS?
I pretty much covered that, but I can go back over it again.
Is that,
And the salaries for EMS, the career EMS callback, we actually reduced that line by 29%. Career EMS coverage went up by 1%, and that's just basically to account for contractual obligations, step increases and whatnot. Call firefighter coverage, we level funded that. Call firefighter callback, we actually decreased that by 33%. Call firefighter stipend was level funded. Fringe benefits and other expenses, the fringe benefits was level funded, and EMS other expenses was the 0.7% increase.
mm-hmm, great. Great. Any other questions for Chief? Chief, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Next item tonight on the agenda is the approval of the presidential primary warrant. Mr. Boudreau, you want to give us a quick explanation of what we have here?
Very simply, this is a warrant for the presidential primary that the clerk has to post, warning the inhabitants of the presidential primary coming up and where the voting places and things are.
Great.
Can you explain what the town committee line item is? See in the left column, you get presidential preference.
Yeah, that'll be the Republican and Democratic town committees.
Okay.
They're on the ballot. They're elected officials.
Great.
So we're just looking for a motion to approve it?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the presidential primary warrant.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We also, next item is the adoption of the new mileage rate. The IRS has come out with a new mileage rate.
Yeah, this is actually good news for the board. The mileage rate is down.
Yep.
Town employees get reimbursed for mileage based upon the IRS rate is adopted by the board. So the board needs to adopt a new rate of 54 cents per mile, down from the previous 57.5 cents per mile.
Amen. Make a motion to approve the new mileage rate per the IRS.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next item tonight is the chair of the Conservation Commission has resigned, and she has sent in a letter of resignation. I'd just like to read it quickly. It's from Denise Young at 81 Perry Ave. I hereby submit my resignation from the Linfield Conservation Commission effective immediately. During my long tenure on the commission, I did make strong efforts to support the activities of the commission, including the enactment of the Linfield Environmental Bylaw, project review and permitting, Pillings Pond water quality research and treatment, open space planning, vernal pool certification, restoration of Partridge Island Boardwalk, and others. It has been my pleasure to have had the opportunity to serve the citizens of Linfield and participate in the Commission's role in preserving Linfield's natural resources. I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to have contributed to and wish the town, the Board of Selectmen, and the Conservation Commission best wishes moving forward. Sincerely, Denise Young. Denise, on behalf of the board, I want to thank you for all your hard work and appreciate the effort you put in for the town of Linfield. And best of luck in your future.
Thank you, Denise, for all your hard work, and wish you the best going forward.
I concur with my fellow selectmen to thank Denise for her hard work and her working hard to maintain the conservation efforts in the town. Thank you.
Next item tonight, a quick update on Union Hospital. Well, maybe not a quick update, maybe a long update. I've got some information came in today that I was very happy to get. There was a letter recently that was in response to the January 7th hearing from the Department of Health. The Department of Health sent a letter to Partners Healthcare, and I can quickly, I'll just quickly read the first paragraph. It says, on January 7th, the Department of Public Health held a public hearing in response to the notification received from you on behalf of North Shore Medical Center regarding the proposed closure of services at the North Shore Medical Center's Union Hospital campus in Lynn at a future date to be determined, but estimated to be in approximately 3 years. As a result of its review, including testimony presented at the hearing, the department has made a finding that the services provided by North Shore Medical Center at its Union Hospital campus are in fact necessary for preserving access and health status within North Shore Medical Center's service area. It does go on and give some requests to Partners Healthcare. Basically, they're asking for them to qualify what they're doing and how they're going to provide service to this area. One of the things they do point out is that they would, the letter requires 15 days to detail to the extent which services now offered at Union Hospital are used. It must provide information on how it plans to replace those services and the travel times to alternative service delivery dates. So they not only have to justify what they're doing, they have to respond to many of the concerns that the residents and all the elected officials brought up at the hearing. This is very good news, and I think it's a testament to all the people that worked on this. I want to thank everybody that came forward over the last year and a half to protest this. There was hundreds of people from Lynn and Saugus and Linfield that put a lot of time and effort into this, and believe me, it has so far been listened to by the Department of Health. And I was very pleased to see that the commission has backed the citizens, and that we're going to, they have 15 days to respond to some of these questions. They have 30 days to respond to several other I'll get a copy of this letter posted on our website so everybody can see what the response was from the state, and you can see what questions they're asking Partners Healthcare. The big piece here is they're asking them to maintain emergency services in this area, and if they can't do it at the Lynn campus, they're asking for a new satellite location to be designated, which is one of the musts that we have to have for the town of Lynnfield. So, very happy to see that this was going on. Mrs. Campbell.
That is great news because so many people think you can't fight Partners Healthcare. I did go to the meeting in Salem, the determination of need, and gave them, the Department of Public Health, a letter dated October 13th, 2013, because I own property next to Union Hospital and I was notified as a neighbor that far back. And I gave it to the Department of Health because they had a whole different plan then. And I don't know that they've done a new feasibility study. So I talked to one of the Department of Public Health staff at the meeting, and she suggested that we go another step further and write to the Attorney General. And one of my concerns to share with the Attorney General would be that they continually say that there's public transportation to Salem Hospital. And I said at that hearing, there is no public transportation in Lynnfield. And the other thing that I presented at the Lynn City Hall was all of the new figures of all the housing in Lynnfield. You probably remember that, Phil. And, if we took a walk outside the hospital, we have two senior housing situations right at Goodwin Circle, and then there's Lynnfield Commons, and then there's Our Lady of the Assumption School with all their staff, and then there's a senior center, and then there's 650 employees at Market Street. None of that appeared on their feasibility study at the time. So I'd be willing to help if you think it's an idea with any merit to write a letter to the Attorney General and make those additional comments.
Well, thank you, Pat. And I think any of those comments and stats and figures are helpful because
Absolutely.
the more that gets brought to not only Attorney General, but the Department of Health and the regulators there that make these determinations, the more they hear from the residents, the better it is for the residents. That's what it comes down to. Part of their letter back to the Partners Healthcare did concern itself with transportation. They asked how is Partners going to provide transportation to get people over there. That's one of the questions they have, and they certainly probably hadn't even discussed that because it wasn't in any of their propaganda that they passed out.
They did talk about improving the Mass DOT, Department of Transportation, Highland Avenue from Route 107 from Lynn. So I asked them, I said, will you also ask Mass DOT to improve all the way from 128 down Lowell Street through Peabody Square?
Right.
Let's see if you can widen that, and I don't know if they're gonna build a bridge to Salem Hospital.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. Well, thank you. Next item we'll talk about is the Camp Curtis Guild cell antenna update. The military has approved a cell tower at Camp Curtis Guild. Their engineering group has determined a possible site. They're going to have a public meeting, informational meeting for that discussion of that site. As I assumed that they're probably going to do, it's on Lynnfield's property, up in the not far from the 7 Way area. It's going to be in. If anybody is familiar off of Lowell Street, there is an access road into the Camp Curtis Guild property. It's going to be down off of that road into the woods behind 7 Way. My biggest concern is how close that is to the existing natural gas pipelines and the proposed future pipelines that might go in. So I'm certainly going to be at this meeting. It's at the Camp Curtis Guild site over in Reading. Let me just, I'll read this to you.
Phil,
Yeah,
which,
yeah, hold on a second.
which entrance do you go in? The one right off of Bay State Road or the one down?
No, the entrance is off of Haverhill Street in Reading. That's the entrance, and you have to bring your ID. It's going to be at 6 o'clock on the 27th. So it's 2 days from now, 6 o'clock, at the 25 Haverhill Street in Reading, building L009, first floor classroom, which is room 103. It's in the field maintenance shop. So I'm not that familiar with the layout of the place, but I'm sure they'll direct you right where you need to go. You have to bring an ID. They're going to stop you at the gate. So just be sure anybody. That's it. Huh?
Driver's license?
Yeah, bring your driver's license. Exactly. So that's what we're going to talk about. That location that they've proposed for this cell tower. One of the things about the cell tower is the original cell tower was proposed at 150 feet. The recommendation now has come in at 120 feet, and at 120 feet, it won't be visible from any. At least is what they claim. It won't be visible from any homes in Linfield. So that's why we have to talk about exactly where it's going to go.
Actually, that's right almost in my backyard.
Yeah, but it has a setback. It's going to be set back pretty far into the woods. And we're just going to see how I want to go in and see what exactly the location is and how far it is from anything in Linfield or any neighborhood. And we have maps, but it's very hard to tell from a small map
Oh, yeah.
really what the distance is.
Come down Bay State Road and go right at the end.
You go right at the end, and it's the next right. It's the next right. And you take a right onto Haverhill Street, and then you go past the fence that has all the National Guard stuff.
People outside
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and you'll go in the road. It's 100 feet past
That's on the right.
on the right side. Yeah, you'll go right in there.
Just drive in slow, because they do mean to stop you.
Yeah, and they have guns. So
And they,
yeah, Chief. All right, so if anybody's interested in going to that meeting, it's again Wednesday night, 6 o'clock at the National Guard. Next.
Like 28, 29, 30, will it be on there?
We can put it on there. Yeah.
Will it feel?
The website, yeah, we'll get it on there. Sure,
it'll be taped.
it'll be taped. Yeah, we ain't gonna have a camera there. The announcement is up. We ain't gonna tape it.
Are they gonna put it on like they put on tonight?
No,
No?
no, they won't. As far as their presentation at the location, I don't know. I don't know what the presentation's gonna be.
The last one, they just had the people in the room
Did you do a
and
PowerPoint?
ask questions. They had a little
They
PowerPoint.
did. Okay.
And
It might be in the paper anyway, huh? Telling them to go to Camp Curtis.
I think that was what it was. That was the announcement.
Right. Yeah, you'll see it. It'll be on the website. Okay. Okay. Last item, we have a public comment period. We've added on. And lo and behold, we have guidelines for a public comment period that I got from Town Hall. And I'll read those to you. Okay, the Board of Selectmen meetings, public comment guidelines. The Linfield Board of Selectmen recognizes the importance of public comment at the discretion of the chair on items on the official agenda as well as items not on the official agenda. We ask that all comments from the public be directed to the chair and that all parties, including members of the Linfield Board of Selectmen, act in a professional and courteous manner when either addressing the board or in responding to the public. Once recognized by the chair, all persons addressing the board shall state their name and address prior to speaking. It is the role of the chair to set time limitations and maintain order during all public comment discussions, as it is important for the Board of Selectmen to allow themselves enough time to conduct their official town business. Now, there's several bullet points. It says public comment is a time when town residents can bring matters before the Board of Selectmen that are not on the official agenda. Comments must be short and to the point. Plan on being allowed up to 3 minutes per person not per topic, to speak. Total time for public comment is 15 minutes, which can be adjusted by the chair based on the meeting's formal agenda content and time requirements. You are free to ask questions to make your point for all to consider. However, engaging in active debate with the Board of Selectmen or audience members will not be allowed. All remarks must be respectful and courteous, free of personal attacks. Inappropriate language will not be tolerated. Town employees, committee, commission, or board members who have business with the Board of Selectmen may make requests to be placed on an official agenda and will not be recognized during the public comment time. Persons wanting to reserve time on an official agenda must contact the town administrator's office. Except in unusual circumstances, any matter presented for consideration to the Board of Selectmen shall neither be acted upon nor a decision made the night of the presentation in order with these guidelines. And just a comment on that, anything that we discuss typically here, we give notice to everybody else in town. People that wish to discuss that can come and discuss it, and we can prepare for the discussion ahead of time. So that's why the public comment, if somebody wants to come up to the podium and talk about something, we will listen, and if we consider it something to be brought on an agenda, we would do it at a future meeting, and at that time, we would get the information and put out the appropriate notice to the rest of the town to discuss that matter. So with that said, do we have anyone here that would like to come up? Yes?
I have to go to the podium?
Yeah, you do, please. And you are Mrs. Rossio?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Welcome, Mrs. Rossio.
Stephanie Rossio, 15 Russell Lane.
Welcome.
I want to thank Tom Carinova in particular for bringing this public comment period back on the menu for the selectmen's meetings. And I want to thank Mr. Barrett for supporting it. I think it's a very important part of the selectmen's meetings for any resident to be able to talk on any topic that they want in Linfield.
Sure.
At a selectmen's meeting. And that's probably why we talked this over. Thank you. Thank you. I just have one question for a little bit of a discussion. I'm wondering, what are the selectmen doing to follow the master plan for Linfield, which we paid for in 2002? And I'm particularly interested in what are we doing to preserve the nature of the town, and what are we doing to preserve the wildlife habitats?
Well, Mrs. Rossio, this isn't a question and answer time period.
Can I ask you that?
You can bring up a subject and discuss it and bring it to our attention, but we aren't going to sit here and answer questions.
Oh, I thought
Okay.
that you were answering.
We're not going to answer questions. No, it's not something, a question and answer period. It's
That's
just
what I
if you
thought
have a
that said.
subject you want to bring to us,
Yes.
this is the time to do it.
This is something that's concerning me.
Okay.
Those two topics and in the master plan of Linfield. And I thought you said that I could ask questions.
No.
No?
It's
That's
not
not
a
what
question
you
and
meant.
answer period, no.
Okay. Well,
Are you asking for this to be an agenda item? Is that what you mean?
I'm asking for the selectmen to think about what their plan is in the master plan, and how are you following it, and do you have any, how do you enforce the master plan, or how do you feel about it? Are we still using it? I know it's 2002 is a while ago, but in particular to those areas, I'd like you to consider thinking about it.
Okay.
That's all.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank
Great,
you.
thank you, Mrs. Rossio. Thank you. Anyone else? Mrs. Campbell?
Patricia Campbell, 7 Patrice Lane. I would like to recommend to you that you consider to add something to the budget. Now, that's a surprising request. It would be for the benefit, I think, of everyone that attends town meeting. I went in June to the National PTA Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we used handheld keypads to vote at the convention. I believe the first year they used them, they were rented, and the second year they were purchased. I think it would be a great benefit to town meeting if we could hold in our hand, just in the palm of our hand, a little keypad that says yes or no and has some numbers on it in case numbers are ever needed. But what would happen would be we would vote yes or no by just pushing a yes or a no, and it would be instantly displayed on the screen. It would save a lot of time at town meeting counting votes. It would make it much easier when there's more than one room of voters. And the tally is just instantaneous. So that it would save the town clerk time, the moderator time. So I would like you to give some thought to renting or purchasing keypads.
Thank you. Okay.
I have a few comments I'd like to make.
No, Tom, not if you're on the board. Board members
Why
are
not?
not on comments. Okay,
Why can't board members make a comment?
because it's not a public comment period for board members or any committee members.
No, but you mentioned here that the board members could speak in a courteous manner.
No. No. The way the rules, the guidelines are, board members do not.
Which one says I can't speak?
Town employees, committee, commission, or board members who have business with the Board of Selectmen may make requests to be placed on an official agenda and will not request recognition during public comment time.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the next on the agenda is the South Hall LHS car wash request. Believe it or not, we have a car wash request coming in for May. We have a request for Sunday, May 1st, and a rain-out date for Sunday, May 8th. So do we have a recommendation or approval for that?
Make a motion to approve the baseball car wash on May 1st and alternate May 8th.
I second that.
All those in favor? Aye. Next, we have for a request for the Center Congregational Church for the craft fair on May 21st. Let me see, note to friends, hold the book sale. They have a book sale also the same day. So the Congo Church wants to use the common on May 21st for the craft fair. So take a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the last, we have the approval of the December 21st minutes. Any comments or question on the minutes?
Page 11, at the end of the licenses, didn't we actually vote on approving the licenses? Or did we just read them?
Let me take a look. I thought I said something at the top of it, but I didn't change how I did that, so I might have not put that back in at the.
On the annual licenses, it does say at the beginning, the first paragraph says it. Right there, Tom, on page 8.
Okay, yep.
Yep, on page 8.
I was looking for it at the end. I was saying,
Yeah.
gee, we talked about
I
that.
think I moved it from the beginning when I was trying to order it.
That's it for me.
All right, so and one last announcement.
To accept.
Okay, sorry. Well, a motion to accept the minutes for December 21st.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the last thing, it actually just came in late this afternoon, is that this has to do with the pipeline. The Department of Public Utilities has requested some meetings to be set up, and they asked for one to be in Linfield. So on Wednesday, April 6th at 7 o'clock at the Linfield Middle School Auditorium, the Department of Public Utilities will be having a meeting addressing the Tennessee Gas Pipeline and the NED project. So, and I'll announce that again at the next meeting. So, with that, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night.